Searching for this all my life. You're just my type. I've been looking for a boy who can treat me right. Your dark hair, but those eyes so bright. They look into my soul and it sparks my life.
Back in studio with my sis on the co-host mic. Courtney, how we doing?
Hi guys, and me and Scheana swapped merch today if you're watching.
Yes, if you're watching, I'm repping the Valley Brat merch. Court has my Scheananigans merch, which is available at shop.dearmedia.com. Where can you get the Valley Brat merch?
Available April 7th. You can get it at valleybrat.la.
Oh my gosh, the night I'm DJing emo night.
Yeah.
And you are too, right? Are you doing a set still?
Check on
We gotta
on
figure that.
Sure.
I mean, I know I am for sure.
Okay.
I'm confirmed today.
Oh, Well, I think I'll be actually
tuned.
mixing and you'll be like the face, like jumping up and down. I'll play you whatever songs you want.
Perfect. So I'm really excited about this episode today because one thing I wanted to do when this season of Vanderpump Rules started airing was to have fellow reality star friends who are also fans of the show come on Scheananigans, talk about their life and their show while also commentating on Vanderpump Rules. So now that the Scandoval, the TRO, and all of that has been discussed as much as possible on Scheananigans, I'm excited to get back to some regular scheduled content. And today we've got my girl Hannah Chata from Big Brother. How we doing?
Gosh, I'm doing so well. I'm happy to be here. How are you?
I'm good. I love the hair.
Thank
it is
you.
so cute.
My hair's like 4 different shades. It's embarrassing because I've got my black roots, I've got my brown, I've got my red, I've got my blonde, but we're working with
Well,
it.
I love it.
You've had the cutest hair since you were on Big Brother. I
my
always
gosh.
loved that you had those 2 front pieces down.
Yes.
It was so inspiring.
That's like my thing.
Yeah, I love it. So Hannah and I met at a movie premiere, I don't even know how many months ago.
A couple months ago.
Yeah.
Like November, December.
Okay,
something
yeah,
like
end
that.
of last year. And you showed me a photo that you took with me.
Yes.
Was this like season 1 or 2? I mean, you were really young in this photo, like teenager.
Yeah, I was 17 when I took that photo with you.
Oh
Yes.
my gosh.
And for reference, I'm 22 now, so it was 5 years ago. And for my 17th birthday, I came out to LA with my best friend from home, and I was like, we have to go to Pump, we have to go to Sir, we have to go to Tom Tom. Well, at the time, we wanted
They
to
only
go.
own 5% of it. Lisa maybe needs to consider renaming it, but it is 95% Lisa Vanderpump's
Okay.
restaurant. Schwartz and Sandy's, that's a whole other
We did not go there.
No.
We will not be going there.
Yes.
But went to Tom Tom, ended up bumping into you, and you were so kind. I was so shy. I was like, I think I called you Miss Scheana.
Oh my God, that's
I was
adorable.
like, excuse me, Miss Scheana, can I get a picture with you? Like, I've been watching you since I was 13.
That's crazy.
That's when the
to
show
me.
came out. Yeah. Yes. And I remember like being in middle school quoting some of the things you guys were saying, which I probably shouldn't have been doing. But I'd be like in the cafeteria and someone would, say something, make me mad. And I'd be like, I am the devil, and don't you forget it.
oh my God, I could just
Not
picture,
a Stassi quote.
I can just picture you telling the lunch lady, like, I don't know what I did to you, but
Yes.
I'll take a Pinot
Pinot
Grigio,
Grigio.
like, literally in
Yes.
high school or middle school.
Yes. No, dead at, can I swear?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, that would be me. So what a full circle moment. And then I went back up to you and I was like, hi, I've met you before. You don't remember meeting me, but now I'm Hannah Chata from Big Brother and not just Hannah Chata from Naperville, Illinois.
Yeah.
And I feel like we hit it off.
Well, in that moment, I was like, hold on. I need to tell my sister
Yeah.
right now because she is the biggest Big Brother fan.
Yeah.
She knows everything about the show. So I was like, wait, I'm with Hannah. And she's like, oh my God, I love Hannah. You have to get her on the podcast. So here we are.
Here we are.
It's come to fruition.
Yes.
We're getting into some shenanigans, but it's so crazy because the show has been on for so long. I started it when I was 26-ish, but when there were people like your age who started watching it at such a young age, and now we're legal to drink, and I run into them at Sir, and they're like, oh my God, I've been watching you since I was 12. Do you want to take a shot? And I'm like, what?
No.
Like, this is crazy that,
Yeah.
I mean, kids were watching the show, and you guys have grown up with us. It's so crazy how many chapters of life we have been through on this show, but
Yeah.
I always love meeting fellow reality stars who watch the show because I feel like we have such different experiences with our show, and that's
Yeah.
kind of what I want to get into is
Yes.
the difference of being on a show like Big Brother, which is similar to like a summer house, winter house, where you have the cameras on you 24/7, but it's, you know, it's live, but you don't even know what's airing while it's airing. At least with our show, you know, it airs so many months later. We get the episode a few days ahead of time. Yours is so live. So other than that major difference, what do you think are some of the differences being on a show like Big Brother compared to Vanderpump Rules?
Well, I think the biggest difference is probably the fact that it's 16 strangers in one house. So
yeah, good point.
We know nothing about each other, whereas you guys have very much established this like family, and you guys have grown up with each other, and the viewers have grown up with you. Whereas with Big Brother, it's very much like a one and done situation. You watch us all day, every day for one summer, and then in most cases, you never really hear from us again unless people come back, and that's possible. But still, it's just very like, I would describe Big Brother as a moment in time instead of like a longitudinal thing. But yeah, I'd say other than that, the biggest difference is just the fact that we have no idea what's being shown. We have no idea what's being filmed. We don't know how we're being perceived by America. And we have this thing called America's Favorite Player. And I remember we would like sit around the dinner table trying to guess who would win America's Favorite Player. And we were
so off.
Yeah. we were kind of wrong. So that just kind of goes to show you like we are completely clueless, and then people could be on the outside like, I don't want to say overreacting to what's happening inside the house, but they could be so totally furious by a comment that someone's made or a fight, and we have no idea. So by the time we come out of the house and we get our phones back, like all of that's subsided. It's just weird to not like be in the thick of the hype surrounding our show, whereas like that is like your job doesn't end when the camera's cut.
Totally.
Yeah.
I see a lot of similarities there, though. Like what you're saying, when you get your phone back and you're seeing things that someone might have said about you that like didn't mean anything to you, but people got furious over. It reminds me of like your guys' interviews, when it's like you're getting upset about things so many months later that you didn't know about in the present.
Totally.
Like, I can see the similarities there.
Yeah.
Like, did you watch your entire season when you got out of the house? Like every episode?
Yes, I did. And I think I'm one of like 3 people from our cast that did that. Just because a lot of people find the show to be a little too traumatic for them to watch back and like relive the isolation, because the isolation is so hard. Like we did not see a single face outside of the 16 of us for 80 something days.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes. And then all of a sudden, like I wasn't even on social media before the show. So I got my phone back. I didn't remember how to get on, like how to get on my phone. I didn't remember how to type in the passcode. So I had to be shown how to do that. We weren't allowed to sing inside the house. So for like months, I didn't
music?
sing. No music.
No, the voice yells at you if you sing. Is it copyright issues or what is it?
It's a copyright issue.
What if it's a song that you wrote yourself?
We came up with like a whole Broadway album. Like we had a sound check because all of us have like musical theater or dance or singing backgrounds. So we were the exception, but there were just so many things that we had to relearn because of the isolation. And I think that's very triggering for some people just watching that back. But with me, I felt like I didn't get answers as to why I was evicted or like sent home. So I just wanted to watch the season back to get those answers and to kind of close that chapter. And also like with our season, the 6 Black contestants, we got together completely undetected, made it to the end, and in doing so we guaranteed the show's first ever Black winner. So I wanted to see like how that was shown, and it was really cool to celebrate.
That was literally going to be my next question. As you mentioned, you know, that your show is like a moment in time, and it was a moment in historical Big Brother time because you were the first all-Black alliance on the show ever.
Yeah.
That's
and
amazing.
that will continue to stay an iconic season.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone will remember that season. Like till the end of Big Brother time. Like everyone's joking this current season is going to be the quarter quell. Like I don't, you know, Hunger Games vibes, which is funny.
Throwback to game night.
I know, right?
Yes.
Speaking of Hunger Games, so a few podcasts ago, we were here right before we were leaving to go to your game night.
Yes.
And it was like a Hunger Games theme. we've done 2 game nights now. What made you want to start that? You've gotten people together from so many different shows to do a murder mystery night. What made you come up with that idea?
Okay, have you guys seen the movie Knives Out?
Yes.
Yes, and Glass Onion?
Yes.
So, on it, like, I can't take full credit because I love those movies. Knives Out is one of my favorite movies of all time. So, I rewatched it with my family, and I was like, wait a second, what if I recreated something like this and then just invited a ton of people that I know, friends of mine, and then it would also just be like a really fun, innovative way for people who would never normally be in the same room to be in the same room. Like, it was so cool for me to see, like, you talking to my sister, or like Dylan Minette from Wallows talking to someone from The Bachelor. Just like, I don't know, relationships that wouldn't normally be formed.
Yeah.
And I'm a Taurus. I'm like you.
Same.
I like to be inclusive, and I like to invite everyone, and I want everyone to feel comfortable. So that was kind of the inspiration behind it, combining my love for murder mysteries with my love for, like, bringing people together over food and alcohol. And people were posted up by the bar and by the taco. by the tacos.
Wait, Hannah, this gives me such a good idea.
Yeah.
Have you seen the show Perfect Match on Netflix?
Yes, I have.
Well, you know, that shows like a bunch of different reality stars from all different types of shows coming together, forming new relationships, you know, with your wide network of all of these different shows. What if you set up some sort of dating night like that and connected these people from these different shows who would have never met, and who knows, you might make some perfect matches. That's like such a concept. You might just
Put on your producer cap.
Right, my wheels are turning. That's actually a good idea.
I think it'd be fun.
But how would I? This is gonna sound so bad when there's no, like, manipulation or murder at the center. Or something. How do I even go about
We're gonna
that?
think on that.
Okay, you'll give me ideas. But that actually does sound like a good idea. Yeah.
I did realize at your game nights that I would be terrible at any of these type of shows, like Traders or anything like that, because I feel like I would play an honest game. I feel bad lying to people. I would try to find a way around the truth. The first guy from Amazing Race who I wanted to kick out and say that he was the killer because he took my chair in musical chairs.
James's husband.
Oh, Will.
Yeah. I should have just stayed with my gut. I was like, you have killer vibes. You were so dominant and just took over that chair. And I was like, fuck this guy. He's out. But then I had a soft spot for him. He was nice to me. And I was like, oh, and he's like, I think it's my husband. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I just believed him. And he was the killer. I was like, I'm terrible at this. I clearly have a terrible read on people, as we've learned watching this season of Vanderpump Rules.
No, I think you just like to see the best in people.
I do, but that hasn't done me any favors in the last few months. All right, all my Scheananigans listeners, new episode today. If you've already heard, you know what we're talking about. Factor! Team Ariana 50 is the code. These meals are always fresh, never frozen. You poke a few holes in it, you pop it in the microwave for 2 minutes, and you have your meal ready to go. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to go to the grocery store. You just get your meals delivered to your door, and boom, Factor, baby. Team Ariana 50.
Yeah.
Have you been following along the Scandoval and all of this?
Sheana, what's so crazy is, okay, so let's see, the news broke on like a Friday, right? March 3rd.
Oh, yeah.
I remember exactly where I was because I was in New York. And literally 35 minutes before, I was talking to one of my good friends about the season. And I think one of the last things I said to her was like, and, you know, Ariana and Tom, I just like see them being together for the long haul. Like they give me hope because they're so solid and level-headed. And she was like, yeah, I don't really like if they don't last, I don't believe in love. And I was like, okay, well, time to go catch the subway, like going down. And then while I was on the subway, I got an alert from Twitter and I was like, no, like this is a lie. This is obviously a rumor.
This is the exact same thing that Lex Tilly said on the podcast last week.
Yeah.
She said the same thing. Sorry to cut you off.
No,
but
you're fine.
That she said literally a day or two before. I mean, not 45 minutes before.
Yeah.
But she was like, if Tom and Ariana break up, like, I don't believe in love. Like, literally a day before. Crazy.
Well, what was it like for you? Because you were with her when you found out.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I felt like Ariana is obviously the most affected person by it, but me as not only her best friend, but their best friend, I'm next in line affected by this, but it's not about me.
Yeah.
It is for me to support Ariana, so I need to just put all of my feelings and shit aside. But that did a number on me emotionally, mentally, physically, haunting my dreams, which turned into nightmares every night.
That is insane.
Yeah. I think he's a narcissist.
Yeah.
I now rethink seeing the good in people and being like, is this good or was this self-serving? Did this feed your ego? Did you do this because you're a good person out of the kindness of your heart? Or did you do it because it made you look good?
Yeah.
I've questioned so much. How could I not have seen all of this happening behind our back and in front of our face? And now I watch back my vlogs. I think back to BravoCon. I think back to every Tom Sandoval and the Most Extra show where her and I are literally front row. And he's singing to me. He's singing to her. He's singing to Ariana. He sings to everyone. You know, that's what you do when you're a performer. You make eye contact with the crowd.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, were you actually singing that song that you dedicated to Ariana before, now to her? I can never listen to Electric Love the same again. That's for damn sure.
That's so disturbing. And I guess my question is, you would think that two people who are doing that would start distancing themselves from your friend group and especially from Ariana. But from the outside looking in, just like being a fan of the show and following you guys on social media, it seemed like she was just constantly around them.
I literally compare everything to how shocking this was now. Like, if this is a 10, like Harry Styles and Emrata last week, I'm like, this is only like a 7 compared to
That's
what.
a solid like 1.5. I saw that and I was like, okay. Keep scrolling.
It was a little shocking to me, but not nearly as shocking as this. But everything now in comparison, I don't think anything will blindside me as much as this blindsided all of us.
Oh, yeah. I mean, gobsmacked.
Like, she was obviously in New York that Wednesday night that everything like happened. Everyone found out, and I like am down in Orange County getting the call, and I'm like, I'm not believing my ears. Like, craziest like 36 hours that like no one knew too. I thought it was gonna be a lot longer until it came out. So
oh no, Ariana was like, we're not keeping the secret. Who am I protecting? No one.
Yeah.
Say it all.
Well, is she doing okay?
Yeah.
All things considered.
Yes.
she's thriving.
She really
thriving.
is.
Yeah.
She's doing amazing. I mean, obviously this has been very hard. You know, she misses her partner, the person that she thought he was, and they still share a house together.
Yeah.
So she can't fully move on while he's still coming in and out of her house.
A lot of people have been asking how that dynamic is.
He has now agreed to communicate with like a third party, letting either his assistant or one of her best friends know when he needs to come into the house or if he needs to stay in the guest room, if he needs to come get some stuff or whatever. So he's trying to be more respectful of her, I think. But in the beginning, it was like, this is my house. I pay half the mortgage. I'm going to come and go as I please, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, bro, you just blew up her world. The least you can do is give her some fucking space.
Yeah.
It's called
Boundaries.
a hotel.
Yeah.
Like, I don't see any reason why you can't go sleep on like Tom Schwartz's couch.
Right?
Yeah.
Because Joe is there.
Oh.
Okay, well, were they double dating?
Yes. They
So-
were totally double dating. They double dated in Big Bear at the end of January.
So Schwartz is known for a minute. Okay. And Schwartz is one of your closest friends as well. From
Yeah,
the
he was in
cast.
my wedding.
They all were.
They all were. All three of them were in my wedding.
Stop.
What am I going to do with these photos?
Yeah. I mean,
I have a Sharpie in my purse.
oh, that's so funny.
I should just put Lala's face on Raquel in all of the
least-
bridesmaid
At
photos.
least you're not like blowing these ones up on canvases.
No, I just did the individuals, me and
Okay.
Summer, me and Brock, the rainbow. Yeah, but yeah, so as someone who has watched the show from the beginning, I mean, for the fans, this just has to be insane as well.
Like I said, literally, like, you may think I'm exaggerating because it sounds better, but 35 minutes before, I was like, the universe has such an interesting way of working itself out. That was the last thing I said to my friend. Like, you know, if Ariana and Tom don't make it, like,
Yeah,
you know,
right?
How did it go after you get off the subway, the news drops, and you call that friend?
No, I was still on the subway. I was still, yeah, it was like 35 minutes later. You know, I was walking. I think I was in Harlem, taking the subway down to East Village, and I was on the subway and got the news, but I couldn't call her because I didn't have signal.
Right,
Yeah.
you're on the subway.
Yeah, so I was like, wait, what do I do with this? But I think when the news first dropped, didn't it just say like Ariana and Tom split over affair? I don't think the very first headline mentioned Raquel.
Yeah, a lot of the details were like trickling out.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was like, again, I was like, no. There's no way. Nothing can shake this couple. This has to be false. And then I think I kept scrolling, but I definitely was like, this is the last thing I expected to see. And then when I saw that there was a 7-month affair and Raquel was the other woman, I was like,
What?
whoa. And then I remembered that you were on Watch What Happens Live, and then I think I was reading and it said like this came out on Wednesday, and then I was like, wait, was Scheana with Raquel? And
Things
I
were,
don't-
gears were turning.
yeah, gears were turning, wheels were turning, my mind was moving a mile a minute, and I was like, if this is true, I really hope Scheana's okay. Like, I did actually think about you just because of the shock of that all. I can only imagine. Like, yes, Ariana's whole world was blown up, but like you said, all of those people were in your wedding. All of them are nuts, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. So I just can't even, like, I really do sympathize with you.
Thank you.
Yeah, because the betrayal in that.
Yeah. I've never experienced anything like
Yeah.
this level of betrayal. I mean, just betrayal in general. I've never had anything even remotely close to this. Has anything like this ever happened with the Big Brother cast? I know when you meet in this house, a lot of people fall in love, start dating. Has there ever been anything where, you know, there's like a couple, but then someone else from the season swoops in, or...
That happened on Big Brother season 21, and I feel like it probably, because after you get evicted, you go to jury house, which is like this mansion in Calabasas, basically hell on earth. No, I'm just kidding. It's a really nice spot
You
that
just
they
didn't
put
want
us
to be
up
there.
in.
You wanted
Yeah, I didn't want to be there. I was like, put me back in the game. Like, I swear I can still win.
Yeah.
But they essentially like put us in this really expensive purgatory, and we just wait there, and they bring us back for finale night, and we ask like the final 2 questions, and then we cast our votes, and we wrap up the season. But I feel like things probably have gone down in jury, like even if someone is in a showmance, if you're in jury with the cameras not being there, like a lot of people won't hook up in the house because of the 24/7
Right.
cameras and the live feeds, and you just don't want to. I mean, some people do, and that's their decision. I respect it. But a lot of people are like, no, my family's watching.
Right.
Like, my future employers could be watching right now. So some people will wait until the jury house, but some people will probably hook up with their non-showmance partners. But yeah, in season 21, do you remember Kat and Nick?
Yeah.
They were in like their own showmances, and then in the jury house they started hooking up, even though Nick was dating someone else from the cast, and then they ended up like walking out of the season together.
Whoa.
Yeah. But again,
Not years of a friendship and all that. Of course,
Exactly,
it's different, but
'cause it's just
still
a moment in
that
time.
type of betrayal for the person who didn't know what's going on in the jury house.
I feel like
Yes.
there's not as many relationships on Big Brother, but I feel like there's just so many more like friendship betrayals.
Yeah.
Like I think of your season and like the betrayals, like because you each like I feel like you should talk about your alliance a little bit more and how you each were paired up with someone outside of the alliance. The betrayals you had to go through to.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me
was
more
really,
about
like,
that.
Intricate and so interesting and yeah.
Okay, so shout out to Tiffany. Tiffany is you've met Tiffany before. She was at the first game night.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she was running around with her little like fedora. She's
Yes.
so cool. But she is the creator of the master plan of the cookout. So in that master plan, each of us was partnered with someone outside of the alliance, and they were like our +1. So if we were put on the block, then the cookout would have the numbers to send the other person home. And then we could really like be in their ear. We were in possession of all the information in the house at any given moment. And that's the first time in Big Brother history that an alliance has been that powerful. And we were completely secretive. Like, I don't think they realized that the cookout was working together until they were all kicked out and went to jury. And they were like, wait a second. And then we were like,
You guys were never
so
all in
anyway.
the same room together, right?
We had a rule. So if you saw 2 to 3 black people in the same room, you did not go in that room. And that's kind of how we were able to avoid detection. And then a lot of us did not like each other. Like we really did fight like brothers and sisters, but we fought. Like we were just never consistently on the same page. There were screaming matches. There were moments where I thought the cookout would be exposed because people were like 2 people would be in the storage room, Big D and Tiffany cussing each other out. So I think that helped conceal us as well. But yes, going back to the strategy that Tiffany came up with, we were partnered with someone outside of the cookout, and you really do end up getting attached to your castmates because you're living this traumatic, unique experience that no one else in America can relate to. Like no one else is being watched 24/7 and also in complete isolation. So, and then there's also a lot of downtime. Like, yes, we are playing a game and competing against each other, but we're together 24/7 for 80 something days. So you really get to know a lot about a person. And I think the whole goal of Big Brother is to peel back people's layers. It's almost like to expose who you are at your core in your most raw form. And that's why I love watching the show. So I almost describe it as like I fell in love with the people outside of our alliance on a friendship level, of course. And it was really, really, really painful for me to know that they put so much trust in me. And that game does feel like it's life or death when you're in that environment. So to know that like people were essentially trusting me with their game lives, but I could never like fully reciprocate that because they had to go at some point and I knew that, but they didn't know that. It almost felt like I was sending a dog to the farm up north. It had me distraught. And while I was in the house, I almost had to swallow that and bury that because I needed to remain focused on the game. So I kind of like dissociated from all of my emotions, whereas other people were, I think, processing each eviction to like a healthy degree. They would let themselves cry, they would grieve that person, and then they would move on. I was so stone cold the whole season. And I actually didn't cry for like a year and a half, and Big Brother was what broke me because I'm not a crier at all. Yes. And my person outside of the cookout, his name is Derek X. You met him.
Yeah.
He's great. But when we had to send him home, I was kind of advocating for him to go home. I was like, listen, it's his time. He's the biggest obstacle. Like, I know he's my person and I probably should be pushing for him to stay, but he's got to go. And I will help make that happen for the sake of our alliance. And then he like closed the door and I just remember breaking down. But then by like hour 3, I was like, anyway.
And we're back.
And we're back to $750,000. Where are you? And then I was sent home and I felt like I was being sentenced to my death as soon as the door closed in my face. And then I got to jury house and I was like, wait a second. I dehumanized these people and I took away their free will because we were kind of like the puppet masters controlling pieces on a chessboard, and we took away their hope. We would let them fight for their lives knowing what the outcome would be. And I felt so horrible even to this day, like regardless of the fact that we made history, and I'm so proud that I can say that about the game that I played. I still feel bad about it because that's not something that I think any of us want to be capable of doing. So it was really, really rough for me. And I've had so many conversations with each of them, Brittany, Derek X, Claire, Alyssa, Sarah Beth, the people who we kicked out.
Yeah.
And they've assured me that they're okay. And they really did take it like champs. And they were like, if we could be sacrificial lambs for you guys to crown the first black winner, then so be it.
Yeah.
But that still doesn't like take away from the guilt that I have.
I was going to say, I don't see any of them being upset with you. I
Yeah.
think for the most part, it seems like most people come out of the game and know that anything that happened in the game was for game purposes.
Yeah.
And it seems like it's so easy to take things personal while you're in the house, but I feel like for the most part, everyone lets that aside when you're all outside, right? Like, yeah.
Well, at least for our season, I know in other seasons, people will get upset over the most minor things, like, you took my red shirt, I'm never talking to you again.
Or the Muffin Gate this
Yes.
past season.
Yes. Wait, does Scheana know about Muffin Gate?
I don't
No.
think
Probably
so.
not. So there's this girl named Jasmine from Taylor's season, and she made muffins, and this guy named Turner stole her muffin. And like an actual muffin. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, they had just been done being have-nots as well, so they weren't able to like eat for a week. So like,
Okay.
apparently these muffins were like very, very important.
Don't take the muffin.
Yeah.
She went around the entire house like accusing everyone, and everyone denied it. And then he went to like the diary room and like admitted it.
Oof.
He was like, I have the muffin, it's right here, and he ate it, and I think he went back for seconds, and she was like, how dare he? And then they were like sworn enemies for the rest of the season.
Don't
And then
take
they
that
had
muffin.
to get paired up. Then they had to get in like, what was it?
A festy bestie
Festy
thing.
bestie, where
Yeah.
you were like kind of competing for a few weeks of the season with your festy bestie. Like you guys were safe together, you had to compete together, like everything. And they ended up being festy besties.
Wow.
Yeah,
it
but
was-
they hated each other. Although now I think they're good.
They have matching tattoos.
yeah,
Muffin
they got
tattoos.
muffin tattoos.
That's
on their
cute.
ankles.
But
yeah.
I think that they were able to like put it aside. I bet they just probably didn't what is it when you live together? Cohabitate
Yeah.
well together.
Yeah.
And outside of
Yeah.
the house. It's like we can get matching muffin tattoos.
Yeah.
Who cares?
I want to know what a show like this, where you are deceiving people, and obviously you guys had your alliance, and so there was a bigger picture there for you. But I want to know what something like that does to your mental health, and also does the show offer therapy during, in the jury house, after? I want to know a little bit about that, as much as you can say.
Yeah, for sure. Well, my contract's about to expire, so I'll sing like a canary. Okay, so in terms of mental health, I think I said this before, like the isolation is really not just the guilt from the game, but like the isolation of it all was what really got to me. In that house, I forgot what my parents sounded like. I forgot what my sister sounded like.
Wow.
Basic facts about my life, I forgot. Like someone would ask me, I think at one point someone asked me like what school I went to, and I forgot. Or someone asked me like what my middle name was, and I forgot, because in that house you really do have to disassociate and become this character in order to keep your eye on the prize. And then I went to the jury house, and I almost had to like relearn who Hannah was. It was the trippiest, most out of body experience ever, because I did not feel like I was in my body for a while after getting evicted. And then on top of that, we get our phones back, and all of a sudden you have millions of people who tuned in 3 days a week, hundreds of thousands of people who logged in and watched us sleep, eat, bake muffins, argue, love on each other, smile, cry. Like it was so strange, because I had just turned 21 doing the show, and I think since they implemented like the age cutoff, I still am the youngest contestant to ever play.
Wow.
So I know a little feather in my cap, but at that time you're still very much learning who you are, and you're forming your identity, and you're coming into your own. Yet I was having all these people like weighing in on who I am, who I'm not, who I should be, who I shouldn't be, giving me their opinions about everything. And the way that they meaning like the fan base of the show, interact with us, and you probably feel this way too, because your show's been on for so long and we've grown up with you, but the way that they interact with us, it's almost like they feel as though they know us better than we know ourselves and we know each other. And just like coming to terms with that new reality was hard for me, and like no longer having any privacy, because my life was filmed 24/7 for 3 months. So yeah, mental health, hard, and I'm still recovering. I think all Big Brother players, even like decades later, are still in recovery. But they do try to make resources available to you during the season, like they have multiple psychologists that you can talk to if you need to. You can take your medication while you're in the house. In Jury House, I was definitely seen by the psychologist many times because I was not doing well. So yeah, they do what they can. But at the end of the day, like, their priority is making a show, and we're kind of tools in that. And I was going to ask you, because you guys are so valuable to the show, whereas we're more so recycled, I kind of felt like I was a tool or like a piece in the bigger picture. Do you ever feel that way or no?
Like, am I just a piece of it, or?
No, like, are they just like using you and your character as Scheana?
Oh, I mean, yeah, I totally feel that way. I've had so many bad edits, quote unquote, on the show where we're not seeing the bigger picture and the full story, but I understand that this is what I signed up for, and this is part of the game. You know, they can't show an hour-long conversation. It's going to be edited down to minutes, and although I could have said 100 things in that conversation that made me look good, they picked the one thing that makes me look bad.
Yeah.
But I understand that I signed up to do a show for entertainment. However, I also want to be on a show where I can tell my story to help people. And so I do appreciate when they put those moments in as well, because it's not just for entertainment. We're not doing that solely to entertain. You know, there's so much more to it, and there's so many more reasons why I do this. But I think anyone on reality TV can feel that way, whether it's every season or one episode. Definitely.
What's the biggest misconception you feel like people have about you from watching the show?
I think people think that I'm just this annoying, make it all about me, inserting myself when I shouldn't type of person, when in reality, I just want everyone to get along. I just want to see the good in everyone. You know, yes, I want everyone to like me, because I don't ever want to do anything to make someone not like me. I don't ever want to be an unlikable person. And I think me being a people pleaser and me trying to put off that image doesn't always work out. Sometimes it backfires, and I can say something in a conversation where I do it on this podcast a lot, and I've had so many 1-star reviews where they're like, stop cutting off your guests, stop, you know, making it about you. I'm like, it's called a conversation. I'm sharing an experience with someone. If I'm interviewing someone who says something that I can relate to, why should I just be quiet and be like, next question? You know, so, I'm not Barbara Walters here. It's Scheananigans. It's not that serious. So that can be frustrating too, because I'm like, I'm not a narcissist. There's some on our show, not me.
Just you said
I'm
some.
not. I mean,
there's a handful.
Well, because
choose your fighter.
You know, currently we know who the narcissist is. There's been others in the past on our show. So I am not one of them. I'm not someone who's ever really trying to circle back and make it about me. I feel like younger in my life, you know, I wanted to be the star. I wanted to be the one on stage in every school play. And I think when I was younger, I did make things about me. I was very competitive. And I think this show has completely taken that from me. And I feel like I need to take a back seat more. And I really try my hardest to not make things about me. I will go out of my way or specifically not say my feelings, because now I'm so just in my head about people thinking that, that especially with this whole situation with Tom and Raquel, I'm like, it's not about me. It's only about Ariana. But I'm like, I'm really, really affected by this too. But I need someone to ask me how I am, because if I just talk about it, then I'm making it about me when it's so frustrating, because now I'm so hyper sensitive to that and hyper aware. And I don't ever try to do that on purpose. I never try to cut someone off. I'm always just trying to relate and share an experience with someone, because that's what life is, you know?
That's the whole point of a conversation and us like being human beings in this world. And in the short time that I've known you, but also from watching you for the last like 10 years, you've just always had such a big heart. And I think I can connect with you on me also wanting the people in my life to get along. I don't like conflict. not because I'm scared of conflict, but because I feel like there can always be a resolution. And if I can be the mediator, then that's a role I'm more than willing to step into. And I feel like you're the complete opposite of Sandoval, whereas like where someone like him will do something to get that external validation, because he's an image conscious person. He wants to, put his best foot forward. Whereas like you will do something and it could be the same action, but it's more about how like you make the other person feel. So I feel like you're way more of an empath, and maybe to viewers that comes across as one and the same, like, oh, she's making it all about herself, or oh, she's being surface level here, but really you don't want to offend people and you don't want to hurt people's feelings.
And I think this is why I'm such a gift giver as well, is because not for how it makes me look. It's for how that person feels when they open it. That's my favorite part about Christmas. Don't get me any present. I say this every year. I don't need anything. Anything I need, I will get for myself. My sister will get me some cute like clothing and shoe items.
Shout out to
I'm
Cortney.
all about that.
But
when it comes down to it, I'm like, I just get so much joy out of watching other people be happy. And I always felt that way about Sandoval. I always thought he was such a generous person because he genuinely enjoyed seeing how happy he made other people, because that's how I am. But I'm like, but I'm not a narcissist. I don't do things self-serving. I don't do it to get a pat on the back and a brownie point and a sticker,
your image.
No, I do it because I genuinely like making other people happy. That makes me happy, because I always want to help people, and I always want the best for them. And now I just question everyone. This is like really done a number on me.
Oh, I can only imagine to experience like that magnitude of betrayal, and on top of that having the whole world or at least the whole country, because I'm not sure if Vanderpump Rules airs in different countries.
All over the world.
Oh, okay. So the whole world,
the entire world,
have an opinion and weigh in on what's going on, and again probably try to tell you how you should be supporting Ariana, how you shouldn't be, how much you should take the time to make sure that you, Scheana, are doing okay, and how much you should, I guess, put those feelings on the back burner. But whenever friendships dissolve, like especially if they dissolve from betrayal, or someone like did something just so earth-shattering, like that is hard, and you experience that 3 times over. So I just hope that you're taking care of yourself and your feelings are also validated, because you're also going through multiple breakups simultaneously.
Yes, seriously.
So as much as I know you're trying to be a good friend to support your best friend, like I hope that you're healing as well.
Thank you.
Yeah. I just wanted to add, I'm gonna be pissed if when everyone's watching these wedding episodes and still tries to make it seem like Scheana only cares about herself. She's making everything about herself. Everyone should have been there in Mexico for your wedding,
right?
And
it's the one time I gotta make it about me.
I don't know if this part has aired yet when this part comes out, but like even Lala not going to all of your wedding events, like as if she's not in Mexico.
That'll be this week for this episode.
For your wedding. It's like, yes, this week is all about Scheana because it's Scheana's wedding and you guys all flew to Mexico for Scheana's 4-day wedding activities. So there will be no coming for her this week for that.
Why is Katie at the hotel when she's not coming to the wedding?
Like at that point, was she just trying to make it a point and be super stubborn by still staying at that hotel? Like did she do that to piss you off, or was there more to the story?
She had a non-refundable room, which I offered her $1,000 for on the spot, so I fixed that problem. She still wanted to go because she wanted her own vacation with her friend Christina Kelly, whose birthday was also that week. That part I understand. Go to a different resort. I'm sure they can clear another resort to film your Mexican vacation. Like you don't want to come to this family-friendly resort that's going to be all about my wedding. But it was very
to
stubborn.
Me, as an outsider, it looks like she wanted to keep a close eye on her ex-husband. That's what I think. You know?
They had an anniversary dinner in Mexico to celebrate selling their house, but also celebrate their wedding anniversary, but they're going through a divorce.
Wait, I'm sorry?
Yeah.
no, how do the people in your friend group do things? Because this is not how my friends and I roll, huh?
That part was so funny too, because like the waiter's like, "What are you guys celebrating?"
I was like, well, our divorce, but we sold our house. And, you know, I mean, I would hope that when people get divorced and still share dogs and friends and a fucking job, you know, I hope that, yes, it can be as amicable as possible and you can make it work. Just don't make it work on my wedding. At the resort I've spent tens of thousands of dollars to be at.
Yeah. Well, do you think it was a pride thing? Like she didn't want to back down, or she didn't want to have to accept the money that you were offering her? Or was she simply being stubborn? And
I think kind of both.
Okay.
I honestly just wished that we could have had a conversation and gotten to a good place before that.
Yeah.
Because up until a few days before, I still had seats at the table.
Yeah.
I was still willing to just get past this. Like, her and I are now past it. We filmed the reunion. We've had several conversations. We're past it. I wish we got past it in August.
Yeah.
I wish it didn't take this long and a whole Scandoval in between to get us to this place. I'm glad we're here now. I'm so thankful. This is exactly where I've wanted to be with her.
Okay.
But at the time, it was just like, come on. It was
Yeah.
so frustrating. And I was also so deep in Raquel and just in everything she told me, from every scene she filmed with her, from how Katie's mom supposedly treated her and all of this. I'm only getting one side of the story. And now I watch it all back and I feel so differently.
Yeah.
I wish Katie and I could have had that conversation then, but that wasn't the plan. That wasn't how it worked out. And you'll see the rest of the season play out, but I'm just glad that now for Ariana, we've been able to come together. We're in group chats together. We're DJing at Emo Night tonight together. So if you guys
didn't
are
know Katie was
listening
coming.
to this now, we were talking after the reunion and Ariana and I said we were doing a DJ set at Emo Night and Katie's ears perked up and she was like, wait, what? Like, she loves Emo Night.
That doesn't
So-
surprise me.
Yeah.
I said, do you want to do it with us?
Aww.
And she said, yeah. So
Wow.
the three of us tonight, April 7th, Avalon, Emo Night. Let's go.
Okay, well, I will be there in spirit.
Yes.
I
But
love that.
yeah, but thank you so much for being here. And this has been so awesome. I've been wanting to do this since the night I met you, and I'm glad we were
Yeah.
finally able to get into some shenanigans. Please tell everyone where they can find you.
You can find me on Instagram at Hannah Chata. That's just my first and last name. On TikTok at Hannah_Chata. And on Twitter at Hannah_Chata as well. BB25 is about to start in a couple months. So I'm going to be live tweeting all my thoughts.
Would you ever go back on the show?
Absolutely, Scheana. As
Yes.
traumatizing as it was, hands down, the best experience of my life. I live for gaming. I live for strategy. I've built a family from that show. Like the Cookout, we talk all day, every day. I have a podcast with Tiffany and Big D called The Royalty on YouTube. Check it out. But yeah, I wouldn't change my experience for the world. And it's also taught me a lot about who I am as a person and who I want to be. So yeah,
I love
I'd go
that.
back. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for getting into some shenanigans with us.
Thank you for having me. I'm
Yes.
honored.
Thank you guys for
I've been
listening.
searching for this all my life.